should, we have,
He's okay. He's okay.
if you want to introduce.
The gentleman they're talking about is my son in the back row, Austin.
Is he a doctor?
Going to be one.
How many generations will that make?
3. Same spot.
Is he doing all right? He's gonna make it?
Yeah, I think he's done.
Way to go, guys.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you again for inviting me to our annual State of the Coroner's Office. Year 2017, every year seems to be getting busier. I'm going to go through my report, make a few comments, and then turn it over to Jim for the drug and alcohol, and Kevin for the suicides, and then we can open it up for discussion. This year we investigated a total of 212 natural deaths. That was increased from 14 from last year. Cremations continue to be a huge part of our daily routine. We investigated 772 cremations. That's an increase of 22 from last year. And that creates a huge burden on the staff because there's several per day. So in between doing everything else they're doing, they have to investigate those deaths.
Is that because of some of the fraudulent things that happen with cremation?
We do catch things that really have to be investigated because once they're cremated, it's over.
Okay.
There's no turning back. Accidental deaths, we had a total of 48 that we investigated. 27 that Jim will talk about were drug-related. We had 14 motor vehicle accidents that we investigated. Now those would be the ones that we pronounce here. Vehicle deaths that would occur when they're transported to Hershey are not part of our investigation. So those are only the vehicle deaths that we have that we pronounce in the county. 2 cases of asphyxiation. We had 1 drowning. We had 2 farm accidents. 1 fall. That was the case related to the gentleman who fell between Palmyra and Annville into the quarry. And we had 1 accidental laceration. That was an individual who fell in the bathroom and struck her carotid artery with her wheelchair and died on the spot.
Oh my gosh. What were the farm accidents?
Farm accidents were 2 in the eastern part of the county, both younger, a teenager and I think a 3-year-old.
What, was it with equipment?
Equipment related, yeah. We had 2 homicides, that was a double homicide, both at the same time. And we have 4 pending cases that are still out from autopsies. That results haven't been obtained yet. Suicides were a total of 18. Gunshots continue to be the leading cause of death, 13. We had 3 hangings, 1 wrist laceration, and 1 medication-related homicide. Suicide, sorry. The suicides are down from last year, down 2. They were 16 last year. And Jim will talk about it here shortly, but our deaths from overdoses have increased. They were 27 this year. They're up 11 from last year. So I'm going to turn it over to it. And there's a reason for that increase that Jim will talk about.
Thank you. As Dr. Yocum indicated, in 2016, we had a total of 16 overdose deaths in the county. This past year, 2017, it increased to 27. The 27 individuals, the average age of those individuals was 37 years of age. It consisted of 18 males and 9 females. Out of those 27 people, only 9 were known to our office, had previous treatment or services through our office. Doesn't necessarily mean that they didn't have services elsewhere or under other funding streams, but that is a low number of people out of the 27 that we were only aware or had history with 9 of them. The breakdown, there was 18 Caucasian, 8 Hispanic, and 1 unknown. The thing about the 21 of them occurred within the Lebanon PA 17042 or 17046 zip code. Only 6 occurred outside of those areas. 1 in East Hanover Township, 1 in Campbelltown, 1 in Annville, 2 in Myerstown, and 2 in Palmyra. So the majority of the overdose deaths occurred, again, in the Lebanon zip code areas. One of the things that we found in looking at the 27 cases, me and Dr. Yocum, out of the 27 cases, 21 of them involved the use of fentanyl, which is a huge concern. And that's something that people use to mix with the heroin. So the people that think they're getting heroin, they're getting all sorts of different things. What we're finding with these folks is the most consistent substance is fentanyl.
And fentanyl, when we usually come across fentanyl overdoses, a lot of times they still have a needle in their arm.
That's not fast.
That's how fast and quickly. Fentanyl is a substance we use, there are fentanyl patches we use for cancer pain, long-term pain treatment programs, and it's meant to be given over a 3-day period. So these people are injecting an amount in a short period of time, and so they die almost instantly. That's how fast they die. And the people, when they buy their heroin, they have no idea what's in it. So they buy it, and in regards, they have no idea what it is. And the other thing we find interesting, that most people just shake their heads and they can't believe it, we try not to release, when we find bags at the scene, we try not to release the names of the bags, the pictures that are on the bags, because when people find out there's a powerful substance on the street, they go looking for it. They want to try it. So.
I have a question. Could I?
Yes.
So, do you have any data on how many Narcan saves there were? I don't know if you keep that or if EMS keeps that.
That would be something that EMS would be able to provide.
Okay.
It is of note that out of the 27 people, 4 of the people had Narcan in their system.
Before. So, which means
someone tried to revive them, save them,
And it was recent, right? It would have been recent.
Yes.
It's still in their system.
So when he did the toxicology, naloxone showed up in 4 individuals' screens.
So does that mean that someone attempted to revive them on that occasion or previous?
Previous,
okay.
or at that occasion. A lot of
Okay,
times
either
when
one,
the-
you're not sure.
Either.
How long
And
can it
everyone.
stay in the system?
Not long, but if it's at the scene and the ambulance crews try to use Narcan, that will show up when I do my toxicology. Another thing to bring up, recently did an interview, there's controversy between the counties and county coroners about what they're doing to try to prosecute, cases of people who deliver of a substance resulting in death. And our office, and every coroner is different, every coroner runs their office differently. But our office, we do a toxicology on every overdose case. We work hand in hand with the district attorney's office, local police departments. I give them several days. If they can come up with who they think delivered the substance, then we proceed to an autopsy. I do not autopsy every overdose case. Some counties autopsy every overdose case. The expense of that would be exorbitant. And autopsy every case, I have my diagnosis. When I do the toxicology, I have my diagnosis. Now I'm just waiting for the police department to say, hey, doc, we think we can prosecute a case. Then we proceed on to the autopsy, because to go to court without an autopsy today doesn't do you any good. So I do not autopsy every overdose case, but I do a toxicology on every overdose case.
Second part to my Narcan question is, does fentanyl make a difference in the effectiveness of Narcan or not?
if somebody's using fentanyl, it probably would take several Narcan doses to bring them around. But I'm taking several, probably 4 or 5 doses of Narcan just to bring them around, depending on when they find them. Most of the time, they're dead when they get there. So they would have to really be almost at the scene, respond to the scene when they were.
As Dr. Yocum said, we had 18 suicides in 2017. Just, I think, to clarify, this is a reduction from 2016 when we had 20 suicides. We had gone down to 18, which is, of course, 10% reduction. We're very pleased to see a reduction when most counties are seeing significant increases. Looking at the demographics of those folks, as Dr. Yocum pointed out, 72% were by firearm, 16, almost 17% by hanging, almost 6% by pills, and almost 6% of an individual that slit their wrists. Looking at the average age, it's about 50.1 years. Majority males, 17 out of the 18, or 95% are males. And the ethnicity is 83, 15 individuals, or 83% are white. Hispanics account for almost 17%, with a total number of 3. Interestingly, none of these 18 individuals was known to our agency, had never gotten services through our office before. That does not mean that they didn't get services elsewhere, similar to Jim's issue. People may be getting services through their private insurance or whatever, but none of them were known to our office, although 44% of them were known to have some mental health symptoms or conditions prior to death. Looking at other numbers related to them, the oldest, excuse me again, the oldest was 86 years of age, and the youngest was 15 years of age. There's always a strong reaction by our office and the Suicide Prevention Task Force with a young individual. About 1/5 of them, or 22%, were known to have a prior drug and alcohol history as well. And in terms of their relationships, almost 17% were never married, almost 17% were divorced, 11% were widowed, and about 28% were married, and about 6% had a significant other, and we don't know about 22% of them. So, I mean, you can conclude that a significant number of the individuals were not in a relationship at the time. This year we looked a little bit further, and we looked at where their residence was, just so we could, again, a little bit like the DNA folks. We found seven individuals lived in Lebanon, 2 in Palmyra, 2 in Annville, 1 in Jonestown, 1 in Fredericksburg, 1 in Myerstown, and 1 in from Newmanstown, and 3 of them were not county residents, lived either in another county or another state. That's our summary for 2017. As I said, it was a reduction for 2016 by 2. I don't know if there's any questions about that.
Any questions?
Yeah. Did you say